I didn't know what was the end of that process because this field is completely new to me, and I think delivering babies is easier.
Here we go.
What is Gunjaaish?
Possibilities?
What is Gunjaaish that you are doing?
You mean Gunjaaish the movie?
Yes.
It's a movie about autism, autistic families, their struggles, their wins, the perseverance that autistic families have, the proof that everyone with every challenge can do anything.
Why a film or a short film?
It was never the plan. So when I started working about autism or on autism, what we had in mind is we wanted to do something in Hyderabad wherein we get in a whole mass together in a walk which was on Autism Pride Day, Autism Day, which was 2nd of April, if I remember correctly. And on that day, I wanted to release a small slogan, some kind of audio which would be signifying autism. Anyone talks about autism, those two lines would come into their mind. Just like वो पहले ज़माने में निरमा की ad नहीं होती थी, washing powder निरमा. So something like that I had in mind. And then I couldn't find anyone to make it, obviously, because I had no budget. And I didn't have any volunteers to do it. And then as we went by and kept meeting people and wonderful people, and then we came across very astoundingly husband of one of my members, one of my Marham members, who offered to voluntarily make the song. And then they made the song. And then I said, ठीक है, song खाली खाली क्यों release करे, तो let's make a small video out of clippings of all the autistic talents that I know. And then we met two magicians called Benno and Emmanuel. And then they changed that whole vision of just a clipping into a music video and then a short film. So that's how the Seemaye turned into the Gunjaaish.
What do you want the audience of Gunjaaish to feel?
So I think I have aims very, very clear. One, we are trying to make the masses aware. That means ourselves. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about me, I'm talking about us. Making ourselves aware, making ourselves sensitized to let that person sit there normally without making that person uncomfortable. Only then we can normalize it in society. The second aim was, as a gynecologist, I saw in my practice that autism has been increasing. Every 36th child is an autistic child. That means is on the spectrum. Unless parents accept that autism is not a disease, it is a different way of looking at world. They see the world better. It's an autism world. Everything is normal, but because we are not the same or we are not as talented as they are different and they are treated differently. And I think that is what we all need to understand, because each of them is unique and each of them has a talent, and I think that's how it goes.
What was the process of making this film?
So I think shortly said, the process for me, it started with just one box and then boxes kept adding, and I didn't know what was the end of that process because this field is completely new to me, and I think delivering babies is easier. So we started with, as I said, we started with just a random video clipping, and then Benno and Emmanuel said, no, we can have a story. And so we started writing a storyline, and then we wrote a storyline, and then we got a lot of hurdles. People came up and said, why this scene and why that scene, and There's a scene where the mother gives up her job, and someone came and said, why did the mother give up her job? Why not the father? So, ठीक है. I mean, each of those scenes are written by me as true experiences of what I heard from autistic families. None of them is made up. And each of them is showing something that every parent has inspired me about autism. And I think that's how the movie came up. It was not a movie actually. I was trying to show different things, and my two magicians converted it into a movie. Let me put it shortly like that. And then we started looking for actors. And then I think for Ravi Dev's role, I never had anyone except Rahim in my mind. And then, to be very frank, Nandini was one of my first options. But then obviously she's busy, she's working, she's far away. But then I think, as I said, at Marham, everything fell into place. I didn't have to work towards it. It just happened. One major challenge that we faced, I think, or maybe not a challenge, it was a boon to the whole project, that we came up with the autistic children playing themselves. They didn't have to act it out. I think that was the best part of the movie for us. And the best part was not finding the children, because we must have spoken to about 50 families to get those 3 children that we got. But what we got, I think, treasures. When Shrikant came in the first day, all of us, including Rahim, Nandini, Beno, Emmanuel, me, offmost, because I had so much heard about the meltdowns and not holding capacity, and I was so worried. And the moment we started the first shot, both of them started taking take 1, take 5, take 10, I think take 14. And I was like, no, stop, you can't go on. But Shrikant just did magic. And I think there's one scene in the end, I won't reveal the scene, but that scene, I think all of us as crew were in tears. And Shrikant proved to us that he was just unique. And the shoot of Usaid was far away in Bombay, and the direction was in Hyderabad, and the choreography was in Calcutta. So so it was such an amazing shoot, where the studio is in Bombay, which is in the west, and we have the director in the south, and we have the choreographer in the east. But I think ultimately everything puzzled together, and then I think rest of it is history.
Out of the 13 to 15 actors we had, only 2 of them were professional actors.
Yes.
Rest of them were, all the kids were autistic, professional doctors, teachers. So how was your experience making them act their own role?
I think that was the blessing. I think this question is more apt for the director and the cinematographer, because I think they must have found it a little easier, because the doctor knew what to say. Obviously didn't know how to act and dub, but yeah, she knew her role, and that was her role. And I think that made life a little easier for us. But then obviously the scene at the school was a challenge. Because we had all the children and we had an autistic child in the middle. And I think I remember that Beno worked 45 minutes for 4-second shot. So I think it was a blessing in disguise.
We've had few songs before that we've rejected. So we finalized one song.
The whole story came up with the first song, and then we never used it. And then we came up with a new song. And then I think the lyrics of the new song aptly fitted into the whole story. And I think that made it magical. And I think everyone has worked their bit, from the vocalist to the guitarist to Amit. Amit is the one who's held the band together, and he's actually, in a way, the first spark which has brought together this whole thing. So, yeah, thanks to Amit.
How was your experience working with Craftsman Media?
It was amazing. It was amazing. I mean, um, everyone was open to whatever I said. They wanted to put a point forward, they would put it forward gently, but would make their point clear. And I think, what I realized that nowadays, people ask me, do you go for movies? And I say, I only go for movies which have a brain. And I found Craftsman Media crew, the filmmakers with the brain. And I think that is good.